Good morning. It's Michael here, September 2015, and I'm treating myself to some Starbucks. I'm also moving on this trail this morning before I go to work. I have about an hour to kill, and figured I'd come out here and smell some fresh air, get my body moving, blood pumping, all of that good stuff. Also educating myself and considering some things about life and my plans and goals and aspirations and things I'd like to achieve on a short-term basis, and doing a little bit of a meditation, or I will be here in a few minutes, and just decompressing because I've got about another 14 days here, so not exceptionally stressed out about the move back to New Orleans, but it's starting to build up a little bit. So losing my job and some of my friends here is it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but it is what it is. So I wanted to talk a little bit this morning about some things I've been thinking about, and it's really not a complete thought, but the question is, are you chemically addicted? Are you chemically addicted to any substance, drugs, alcohol, food? Are you chemically addicted to any behavior? Watching television, being in relationships, sexual addiction. And is there really a difference between the two? Or almost all addictions chemical? And what I mean by that is, at the level of the brain, are we basically just doing whatever it is that we do because we are chemically compelled? And the chemicals I'm talking about are the ones that are pretty common to most people nowadays, that most people are aware of: dopamine and Oxytocin and norepinephrine and these types of chemicals that our brain has a tendency to crave. I mean, that we need it just for basic human functioning. But at what level in our daily lives, what level does this actually affect who we are and what we do and how we behave and what we crave and all of these things? This is pretty. Check that out. So I believe that a lot of our behaviors can be, if we break them down to their basic levels, can be to be found to have their etiology just in basic human neurochemistry. And we can't really change that, but we can have an awareness of it. So in my daily journal, when I ask the question, are you aware of what you do and why you're doing it? And are you aware of what you think and why you're thinking it? Both of these, if you break it down to the smallest level, probably originate somewhere on the chemical or neurotransmitter level of your brain. And so you can't really change it, but you can be more prepared to satiate the cravings with healthier, the craving appetite with a healthier option. So some examples of this are, if you have a tendency to get into dysfunctional relationships, and you can pin down that the reason you do this is because when you were a kid you had fear of abandonment and you don't want to be alone and you want a companion and all of these things. And if you look further into it, a lot of this may have to do with the release of oxytocin and dopamine, uh, and when the relationship fails after a few months, part of the reason is because you're not having that same oxytocin and dopamine response, so you're not thinking the same way, you're not feeling the same way, you're not reacting the same way, the other person's doing the same thing and it fails, and you just go through these cycles over and over. So you can figure out a way to get the dopamine and the oxytocin in a healthier, more stable way, through nurturing friendships rather than intimacy, nurturing your relationship with your family and the people that you're already attached to, rather than trying to bring the random Prince Charming or Princess Charming into your life over and over. So this is kind of one example of a behavioral way. And then, of course, with food, there are ways to make yourself feel more full. If you're a normal functioning person, I mean, everybody knows that there are metabolic differences and brain differences in everybody. But for the most part, most people are a standard issue. So, for instance, one thing that I do to trick myself to feeling full is I eat a small packet of almond butter. And there's a little kind of a trigger in the top of the stomach that when that fat hits it, it kind of coats it and it tells my brain that, hey, we're good. So if you're just eating sugar, that trigger is never initiated, then you still have a feeling of hunger. So just little things like that. And then also there's the dopamine from behaviors like gambling and drug abuse and alcohol and all of these things. So I guess basically what I'm saying is that maybe in order to mend yourself and to have you're never going to have full control over all of these things in your life, but you can have an awareness that allows you at least a little bit more understanding of what's going on, and just that whole knowledge is power thing allows you to be a little bit more prepared, which will possibly lead you to be a little bit more successful, less stressed out, less frustrated about why is it that I tell myself one thing and I fully believe it, and then I find myself doing something totally contrary and habitual a few hours later, despite the fact that I know that it's really not what's in my best interest. And this just seems to be a common theme in causing distress and disease in your life. So if you can figure some of these things out just at a baseline level, then there's probably a chance for you to do a little bit better in life and to have better outcomes, better results, and just to be happier overall and healthier. So I'm going to get back on my hike, but I just wanted to mention what it was I was thinking on this hike this morning. All right, thanks. Bye. Mend yourself. Man, this is so great.